We talked about some of the things that happened, the history, and the decades preceding the writing of the Constitution. And I want to stick with that kind of a format tonight. I want to talk about the history again of events that lead up to the writing of the Constitution. Here's why I want to do that. Our founding fathers were extremely careful when they set about writing the Constitution and developing a new form of government, a constitutional republic. They knew the dangers when men had power and control over other men. Here's what two of the framers of the Declaration of Independence had to say about government and power. This is from James Madison. It has been said that all government is an evil. It would be more proper to say that the necessity of any government is a misfortune. The necessity, however, exists. And Thomas Jefferson said, "The natural progress of things is for liberty to yield and to government to gain ground." Now, our Tea Party movement has been accused of being anti-government. We are not anti-government. We are pro-government. A government by God, given to us by our founding fathers. And if we're to succeed in keeping the freedom and the liberty that our founding fathers fought and died for, we need to be vigilant. But in order to be vigilant, we have to know what we're trying to protect. We have to know our history, the history of this great nation. A history, by the way, which is being purposely lost and distorted in our children and grandchildren's textbooks.
Yeah.
If you know what's going on in Texas right now, the next generation of textbooks is being discussed and argued. What will be in them, what will not be in them. The results of that are going to be just as important to this country down the road as this healthcare fiasco. Now, tonight I want to concentrate on three events that happened prior to the writing of the Constitution. Events that I didn't even talk about last month. But they were very important in bringing about a feeling of unity among the various 13 colonies. I would suggest prior to the 1760s, with the possible exception of those radicals in Massachusetts, the average colonist was happy to proclaim that he or she was a British American subject. The first event was a turning point not only in American history, but in world history. The French and Indian War was waged between 1754 and 1763. And out of that grew a global war called the 7 Years' War, which initially pitted Britain against France. And before it was over, every major power in Europe got involved. At the end of that, France lost its claim to Canada and the American territory east of the Mississippi. It did, however, retain the Louisiana territory. Now, that's where the French Canadians ended up migrating to. They ended up being called the Cajuns. Let's think about that, because this is very important. If the French had not kept New Orleans, today they wouldn't be so much known for their gumbo and Creole, but maybe fish and chips. And somehow that just doesn't sound right. And it doesn't taste right either. The second and third events, the Revenue Act and the Stamp Act, they were both a direct result of the French and Indian War. So tonight we're going to look at these events and see how they shaped the history of North America leading up to the writing of our Constitution. Our first stop is February 10th, 1763. It's the end of the 7 Years' War, and we're at the signing of the Treaty of Paris. The war ended with Britain emerging as the foremost sea power in the world. With victory came expansive and expensive new territories. And members of Parliament felt that taxing the colonists to pay for their share of the debt from the war was not only necessary, but it was just. Here's a part of what they said in the Revenue Act.